The Paul Bunyan of hand gibbers.
She's here to callus my penis up.
Oh, no. Oh.
Not great. That's why everyone needs a pet.
Yes.
A fake vagina to do hand jobs with.
Are we recording?
Yeah. It's a good start. All right. What's up, everyone? Back. Welcome to the UMSO podcast. This week, I have Bonnie, and we're going to do some Iceland Q&As. We're going to go ahead and holler at some sponsors real quick. Let's go ahead and dive into these questions. You want to fire them off first?
Yeah, so we got a lot. I imagine we have a couple of the same because I was getting a lot of repeating questions just being here. But the number one thing that I was asked is, how difficult is it to get into the country right now with the COVID?
It wasn't that bad. I mean, other than we had to get vaccinated, and so that took a month. And then we had to get a PCR test within, 72 hours of coming? Mm-hmm. And we also have to get another one to leave.
Yes.
Which young Brant went and got today. Because he leaves tomorrow morning. And we're here for like another week.
And if you only have the negative test, you still have to quarantine for 5 days. Or you need to have proof that you already had COVID once
That's right.
before.
That's right. So you don't have to be vaccinated.
So it's kind of three options there.
Yeah.
So vaccinated and negative test, quarantine and negative test, or negative test and proof of prior infection.
Yeah, because one of the girls on the Trova trip,
Carrie, she got in that way.
Yeah, did not have a vaccine. Really screwed the pooch.
Well,
I mean, as far as thought she had.
Yeah,
things,
she thought she was in order. Luckily, she had the virus before and had her negative test to present. Otherwise, that could have gotten real tricky for her.
I think they send her to Icelandic Gulag or whatever it is, and she has to live there now.
No way we could
pronounce
the name of that place.
No, they feed her to the volcano, I think.
Yes, human sacrifice.
The volcanoes love COVID.
Very common here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely the number one question I got, and some people were like, is it worth the hassle? Yeah.
For me, it is.
I wouldn't call that much hassle, and also, yeah, it's definitely worth it to be here.
Yeah, that's the same way I felt about it. I mean, not only that, like, getting a chance to travel like this and be here for 3 weeks and then do the trip with the Trova people was so rad that, I don't know.
No, 100%.
I recommend people do whatever the fuck they want.
Yes, of course.
But the rest of the world doesn't have to conform to what you want, which that's the beauty of choice.
And also, I think it's important to remember that, like, these COVID restrictions that we have right now are always changing. So don't rely on what we're telling you.
It just doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, do your own research. Go to the appropriate, like, government websites and make sure that all this is correct, because it could change daily. So don't rely on this if you're listening to this weeks after the recording.
Yeah. Best of luck, though.
Best of luck.
We'll try to get this out pretty soon.
Yeah.
We'll throw this as a Q&A like a Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
That's a good one. Love to do a stone lifting tour. Do you know anyone here that does that? I don't think there's any, like, organization that runs a stone lifting tour. Your best bet is reach out to Ryan Stewart, which is like Stu Squatch on Instagram, one of the guys I threw with in the Highland Games. He has become like one of the authorities on natural stone lifting and manhood stone, the stone lore,
yes,
as we discuss. And I think that and like liftingstones.org has like spots on the map where everything is.
Yeah.
So you can find it, but
you're
it's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah, you're going to have to go out of your way to get to these
Always.
places. Literally all of them. There's not any just chilling alongside the ring road.
No.
Like you've got to go to the beaches or into the interior of the island.
Like the closest is Husafell, which is like an hour and a half.
Oh, it's further than that.
It's an easy hour and a half.
At least, yeah.
Probably closer to 2.
Yeah. And even that, there's no signs or anything really. You just have to kind of
Kind of
know
know
where
where it
to
is.
go.
Yeah. And then, the like I said, the liftingstones.org would help a lot with location and geomap, getting GPS coordinates and stuff of like where
Yeah.
you need to be for the stones.
Yeah. You
They're
won't
great,
find
though.
any local tour buses popping around from stone to stone.
No. If you go to Locherberg, you can catch like 3 pretty easy. There's the Judas stone over there that we all did. There's
Judas.
the Bjornstock or whatever. It starts with a B. It's very big. It's like 281 kilos. I've lifted it in the past. I did not successfully lift it this trip.
We're also going to butcher the names of everything, so
Forgive us.
bear with us.
Forgive us.
Yeah.
And then
There's the Fisherman Stones.
the
at
Fisherman
Drittvik.
Stones in Drittvik. Those are easy to get to.
That's like the full stirker, half stirker,
Yep.
and the other two.
And there's
smaller
another
ones.
set of Fisherman Stones in Locherberg that we missed.
Oh, really?
Yep. So like
Okay, I didn't
instead
know that.
of if we're leaving the cliffs in Locherberg and you take that right that goes up the mountain again to get out, they're just like on the beach
Oh,
instead of left like around the bank a bit
yeah. Okay.
in some farmer's field.
Yeah. As
As
that's,
they are.
As that's where the stones are.
As that's where stones live.
And then we also did just some stones for fun at Hengifoss.
Hengifoss, and then there's the Peter Stone at the Diandi Waterfall.
Husafell is outside of the town of Husafell.
Yep, near Reykjavik. Can't miss it.
That's what they say. Yeah, but yeah, find the website, find the names of the cities that these are close to.
That's kind of the whole point of like, if you're into the stones, like that's one of the fun bits of the adventure, right? Is you got to go seek them out. They're not easily found. Even in Scotland with the Inverstone and Denny Stones. I mean, you know where they are, the Potar Hotel, and then the Inver is there. They're a little bit easier to find. But again, liftingstones.org I think covers basically all said lifting stones around.
Perfect. Okay, what is an ideal amount of time to spend there on vacation?
Depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, I'd say if you're just going to do the typical tourist spots and do like the south of
The South
Iceland,
Coast.
the south coast is definitely where you can see the most amount of things in the shortest amount of time. I'd say if you've got a week or less, probably stick to the south coast. If you've got 2 weeks, you could definitely do the full ring road
You could do the full ring
and
road.
all the sites around the south coast because there is a lot of things to see in the south coast and the Golden Circle. If you've got more time available, we would probably suggest going to the West Fjords, adding
Man, the
that
West-
into your trip.
Yeah.
So the West Fjords is kind of the western/northern part
It's this
of
weird
Iceland.
hand that hangs off the top of the country.
Yes, all the fjords.
On the left side.
Yes, yes. But the ring road doesn't go into that.
No.
So if you're planning
No.
a trip there,
It's an out and back.
Yeah, that has to be its own kind of thing. And we spent like 2 days, and we could have easily spent probably 5.
Yeah, because we didn't
just
even
in
get
that area.
we didn't get anywhere near like Hornstrutter or quite up to like Isafjordur where that is in the further north. But
you're not-
the
you're-
West Fjords are incredible.
Ridiculously beautiful. And you're not covering a ton of distance, but everything just takes so long because you're going around these long fjords and there's not a ton of like long bridges or tunnels up there. So driving time just takes way longer than you think it will.
Yep, everything. It's like, oh, cool, that's 60 miles. Like we should be able to get there in just under an hour. Nope.
No,
That's
try
90 minutes.
Yeah, try like 2.5 maybe.
And even the ring road, like the road quality is really solid, but it's still a 2-lane road that goes all the way around the country. And so like you're gonna have to pass people. There's a lot of like little one-way bridges that you kind of have to slow down and wait your turn.
Yeah. There's no real actual interstates in the country. Nothing that I would say is an interstate.
No, because I don't think they have states.
Well, you know what I mean.
I do indeed know what you mean. But yeah, the main real drag is the ring road.
Not drag as in bummer.
No, just like
The main road.
Main road
Yes.
is the ring road, road
Yes.
1.
Road 1. You can take that all the way around the entire country, not get lost, see a bunch of rad shit, and it's the easiest thing to do. But I'd say if you're going to do that, give yourself over a week.
Okay, Colton Page. I don't know why I'm saying people's names. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
How much did the van cost? So this is the third year that I've done the camper van rental. I always rent them from Gooooo Campers. It's like KU Campers. I compare prices every year as if I'm going to find something cheaper, and I haven't. And then I know how easy it is to work with them, so I do. I don't have any type of a deal or anything with them. I just pay. And so, like,
Be cool if we did.
Be sick if we did, because the 2 weeks we've had this camper is like $5,000.
Yeah, that's been the most expensive part of the trip.
Depends on how you want to define expensive, because the less than 24 hours that we were in Siglo was a bit more pricey. But for 2 weeks, I mean,
did some damage in Siglo.
For 14 days and $5,000, whatever that divides into,
Math.
But there's three of us. There's three of us in a van, and we got a big enough four-wheel drive van so that we can handle some F-roads and handle some gravel and do those type of things, get to where we really wanted to get, as well as we have a roof tent on top so that, Bonnie and I are sleeping in the van, which has been really comfortable.
Yeah, no
and
issues.
Then young Brant's been up top sleeping in the roof tent, and it's been killer. And it's been a really, really convenient, fast setup. I keep renting the vans every time I come because it just gives us this other option to leave. But also, I'm spoiled in Iceland because I've got a bunch of friends here. And so, right now we're staying with one of my, close friends here, Hasey, who I used to compete and throw with. And we were laughing about, since now that I've been coming for 12 years, it kind of feels like home. I know that we've got this base that we can come and hit and wash clothes and sort our lives out and cook a few meals the same way that we treat Airbnbs whenever we big road trip in the States.
Yes.
It feels very similar. So.
Yes. It's also cool coming back to the same place because, we're comfortable getting around in Reykjavik. We kind of know our way around. Having a place to do laundry has been killer.
Yeah, place
very,
to train.
very important.
Back to your question.
2 minutes away from the gym.
Yeah, cost of the van. The van costs $5,000, but then you fill it up, and gas is expensive here. It's all diesel that we're using on the van, so she's a pricey place to be.
What areas felt the least touristy, like hidden gems that you absolutely loved?
So essentially, once you get out of Reykjavik to the north, and really past Borgarnes or Akranes. Once you kind of go through the tunnel and then cross the bridge to Borgarnes and start kind of getting into the Snæfellsnes Peninsula, there's a lot less tourist. There isn't the big tourist expeditions aren't really making their way to Grundarfjörður or any of these other places. There's going to be some that'll go through Stockholmer and take the ferry across into the West Fjords, but even that's a really small percentage of people.
Yeah, if you're ending up in the West Fjords, you're there on purpose. You don't just accidentally end up there. But that, to me, would be the area I would recommend as hidden gems.
Hidden gems.
A bit off the beaten path. When you're on the South Coast, you're going to see tons of tourists everywhere, and rightly so, because none of that is overrated. It's all amazing.
No, the hidden gems in this country are just the hot springs and public, really nice small public pools that they have in different places. They're all geothermal, they're all heated, they're all really clean, and usually in really rad, picturesque environments.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, because, that one hot spring we went to with the group, there wasn't even a sign on the side of the road.
No.
Our incredible tour guide just knew where to take us after I showed him a picture of a place I wanted to go. But there's so many little hidden spots that, if you connect with a local or
just hit up Badi.
Just go out of your way.
Baddie on Icelandic Adventures.
Yeah, that's Icelandic
Instagram?
Adventures is Badi's Instagram, and he was our tour guide for Trova trip, and
incredible,
absolutely amazing human. We're having dinner with him on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to that very much. We couldn't have asked for a better tour guide. Knew so much about everything: Icelandic history, stories, mythology, everything, and was just a really, really good fit for us and our group, and took amazing care of us that first week.
Being your 13th or so trip, are there specific places you feel like you have to go each trip? Kinda. But I don't know how it would feel if I wasn't here with someone who's never been here. So, like, if we did another trip and it was just me, Brant, and Bonnie, I don't know how much we really need to go see the South Coast. Like, how much do we really need to go spend time between Reykjavik and the Glacier Lagoon? Unless, the problem is, unless it's a different time of year, because they all look wildly different
Yes, yes,
in different seasons. And so that
yes.
that changes a bunch.
Yeah, even though this was my second time here, it felt like I was definitely seeing some things for the first time because last time was November. So a lot of the waterfalls were frozen. There was snow on the ground. So it was certainly like seeing a whole new world this trip, which was really cool. Are they all blonde and tall?
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
We were at Sky Lagoon, and I think Matt and Brant missed it, which is probably a bummer for them because they went out the exit and I went out the wrong way. But I got to see this group of the most perfect Scandinavian blonde, tall women that were all dressed in white, and I was like, what the fuck? Look at them. They were all beautiful. And
You just want to be like them.
yeah, I wish I was more blonde.
We just try to move into their group and just like,
I
I'm
just
over
try
here.
to be friends with them, and they're like, ah, silly American,
You're not 7 feet tall.
dumb American.
You climb that tree all day long, sweetheart.
Absolutely. There's a lot of beautiful people here.
Yeah.
They've
They're also less fat than us.
yes,
It's noticeable. It's definitely noticeable cruising around, especially seeing like kids outside. And
which is
stuff
crazy
like that.
because there's so many bakeries and hamburgers and pizzas.
It seems they're a bit
but-
more active.
I think they're a bit more active.
Also portions.
Portions are much
Much
smaller
smaller.
here. Coffees are much smaller here. Very
Yeah.
European. If you order a coffee, you can't ask for like a large coffee. You get
A coffee.
and it's one size. It's like a tall. At
Yeah, and they
Starbucks.
typically don't do a drip coffee like we do in the States. It's Americanos or it's espresso or cappuccino. Any of those
so
type of things.
Yeah.
And like
You're s-
every restaurant you go to is going to have, not even every restaurant, like every hotel, everything like that's going to have a good coffee machine that makes those type of things.
Good coffee indeed, but I
Small.
feel like we
Just
always
not enough.
order a few because we're Americans and we like giant portions.
Yeah, which is why I'm packing 40 monsters with me on the trip. I like the old caffeine, they say. Are you guys still eating your prepped food, or are you getting local food? So we've been eating local food, but we have meal prepped since we've been here. Like we'll cook up just kind of a big thing of camp hash, which is essentially vertical diet. It's ground meat, rice, bell peppers, and onions. And then we'll just make a big mess of that, and it's easy to reheat at camp. It's easy to throw on the stove, and
Keep in a Ziploc bag and
could heat
reheat it.
heat it in the microwave.
Camp hash.
It's great. I recommend it, and you don't feel too gross afterwards.
Okay, here's a good question. The gear that you decided to pack for all excursions. I need recommendations, including outdoor gear, attire, etc. So, yes, obviously this is highly dependent on the season that you decide to
And
visit.
what weather Iceland chooses to have once you've got here.
Yes. When we were here in October, November, we were pretty much in a parka most of that time.
Most of it.
Most of that time, that's like parka, fur hood, stay warm, mittens.
Yeah, but I could basically just
beanie.
throw that parka on top of a t-shirt and joggers, and I was pretty comfortable.
I think I was wearing mine over like a lighter sweatshirt.
Right.
And then, good warm socks. Sometimes I would double up on socks and I would double up on pants. Like I'd wear leggings under my joggers just
Yeah,
because I get cold.
It's the laziest answer ever, and it's such an adult answer, but like layers.
Layers.
You're
yes.
gonna have to dress in layers. Like,
And
thanks,
it's
Mom.
it's true for summer.
Fuck.
Also, temperature wise, I haven't needed anything more than a hoodie, but you are always gonna want something waterproof, a rain jacket.
Yeah, having some type of just a light rain shell is a really good option to throw in your bag.
There were also sunny days when we were hiking where I stripped down to a sports bra because it was hot.
Yeah, I hiked quite a bit
Yeah, you had
without
your
a
shirt
shirt
off.
on.
So check the weather before you come, pack in layers, and we definitely don't need a parka right now in August. And those are kind of a bitch to pack because they take up so much space.
But I've definitely used a big quilted hoodie.
But yes,
I've been cold enough that I want a hoodie, and if it's piss and rain, like it's cold, man. Like it'll
Yeah.
stay in the 50, mid 50s. But it's never gotten to 70.
Close though.
Close, like 69.
Hey, 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 hey. You're up.
Reasonable timeline for doing the ring road. So we did it in like 5.5 days, and
That included 2 days in the West Fjords, and we were booking it. We
Yep.
were moving at a pretty good pace. We saw a lot, and we drove a lot. I would say give yourself a full week to do the ring road.
I think a week. I think a week's really reasonable.
If you want to include the West Fjords, a week to 2.
And I mean, well, so we could have done, but right, we did cash like a full day at the Siglo Hotel, but even that, like, it was needed.
Yeah,
Like we needed a break. We needed to grab a decent food and like kind of chill for a second. Plus, we needed to work and use some Wi-Fi and recharge some stuff and do those type of things. Like if you're just on your own and you were going to camp every night, 6 nights you could be pretty comfortable because you're going to cover what looks about like 4 hours of driving a day, and what that's going to turn into is about 8 hours of travel. Because you're going to stop at a place and get out, and then there's going to be a small hike, and then you get back in the car, and, oh, wait, the next really rad thing to see is 15 minutes away. And so you go to that, and then there's a place that's an hour away.
If you plan on covering a lot of ground, come in the summer because you can drive until 10 at night.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do the ring road in November, December, good luck because you're only going to have
pack some flashlights.
You're only going to have daylight from like 10 to 3. So yeah, being mindful of the time of year, and like that's the one thing that's been really nice about this trip is that you have so long to drive.
Yeah.
We're like, yo, as long as we're at camp before like 11, then we're good. We can just drive.
Right. Yeah, and the van's been such an easy camp setup, right? Like we're not pulling a tent out, we're not cooking, we're not camping per se. Like we're not setting up camp and like having a campfire and doing all that type of shit. Camp for us is we're sleeping in a vehicle.
Yes.
It's up to you or back to me?
I think it's mine. This is a really good question, and it's something that Matt and I should probably think about, but we haven't yet. So, does your health insurance cover international trips? Have you had to deal with hospital stays or doctor visits while international?
I have honestly no clue.
I have honestly no clue, and I'm pretty sure our health insurance doesn't because we both buy our own, and it's through the state of Missouri. So probably doesn't work here in Iceland. It would be something that we'd think about if we were coming for a longer stay or like planning to live here for a period of time.
Sure.
Obviously, that's a thing we'd have to consider.
But they also have universal health care here.
But
so
how does that work for non-residents?
Well, I know they're not going to turn us away.
Of course.
But I also don't think that somehow I have a hospital bill in Iceland that ruins my life and credit for the rest of my life.
No.
But I don't know.
But like I said, if it were a longer stay, it's something we would
we would
about.
Look into.
I don't know if that's a concern of yours. I would encourage you to
call
figure
ahead.
it out before you come.
I would also recommend that. Same with your cell phone. Like have an international data plan on your phone and have unlimited data. It's very helpful.
So I cut my toenail too short, and I remember I was like bleeding out of that corner of my toenail.
I do.
And then I was like thinking about all the ocean and the hot tubs and all the things that I'd gotten in, and I had a dream that it got infected.
Okay.
And I had a dream that my foot and like halfway up my calf was like purple, and it was like bright pink, like veins, like stripes, like running through my leg. And I was like,
Does your
I'm gonna have to
look like a nutsack?
I was thinking, oh, when I wake up, I'm going to have to tell Matt that we need to go to the doctor because my toe's infected.
Get rid of this thing.
Woke up, pulled down my sock. Everything's fine.
You're a very interesting creature.
We don't have to lose the toe.
That's good to know. What's better about the van y'all rented than the Fundra and vice versa?
Oh.
There's no part of it that's better. That's not true. Being able to sleep inside of it's better than the Tundra. It also opens faster. Like the camp setup's faster with the tent that's on this versus the one that we have, but Not by much. There's really no complaints of the tent setup on the Tundra. Better fuel economy. That's a plus in the van.
Yeah, Tundra doesn't score any points there.
No, I would much rather have the Tundra here.
It'd be super fun.
I would much rather have the Tundra here. Yeah. But I may never financially recover from the cost of gas driving that thing around. It's just too much. It's just too much. It's like $6 a gallon.
You're just throwing a quarter out the window every mile.
It'd be more than that.
$1.50.
Oh, God.
Any delicacy foods that y'all tried or are willing to try in Iceland?
I eat basically everything. I think I've had most things here that they kind of do, which is like the fermented shark, the dried fish, jerky. I've done the sheep's face.
Sheep's face.
Sheep's face.
Is that something for like an event or like a holiday?
No, you can
thing?
there's places that you can order half a sheep's face.
Yeah.
On your plate.
Okay. I've tried fermented shark.
It's not great.
Not great. Tastes like ammonia.
If you're into it. Mm-hmm. I'm not. I don't believe anyone is. I don't think there's anyone in this country that likes eating it.
They sell horse meat.
Horse is awesome.
It's very delicious.
So's whale. I like whale. Yeah, both those things.
I think I tried puffin too.
Oh.
The last time.
That's right. We did have a bit. I don't remember enough to tell you one way or the other.
I don't really remember, so it must not have been too overwhelming.
Or there really wasn't enough to like try.
This last time I tried shark, whale, and puffin.
Yeah. I like horse.
Horse is good.
Horse is really,
actually
really good.
really, really good.
Yeah. I don't know. That bums people out, but whatever. I think other people's food choices bum me out. So, even Steven.
Next question.
If you could pick one sight to see out there, what would it be?
Whoa.
That doesn't work.
Diandifoss.
Yeah, I would say Diandifoss because it's a hack because you would have to get there. And the getting there would be a bunch of rad sights.
That was unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yep.
Diandifoss. That is in like the middle of the West Fjords, so you have to go way out of your way. You don't end up there accidentally, but it's beautiful. It's like a 7-part waterfall. It just keeps going, and around every turn, it's just more beautiful than the last. That was
absolutely
a really
crazy,
really cool spot to see. It was one spot that I was like, I teared up. Like you could have just left me there, and I just felt like I wanted to explore and just get to know every nook and cranny of that place. It was stunning, and the waterfall is so different than any other waterfall. So if you have a chance, Diandifoss.
Yeah, it's really, really pretty spectacular.
Mm-hmm. What else you got?
What else? Do they have McDonald's? No. They tried. They got rid of them. This Tommy Burger is way fucking better, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
Not a ton of fast food here. There's some KFC, and then there's like some KFC Taco Bells, but Taco Bells on their own don't exist, which is a huge mistake. But for the most part, they've got their own thing. There's lots of little eateries. They do lots of hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza, and all of which are killer. A lot of bakeries.
And the bakeries.
It's just more European than we are.
Yes.
Right? Like it's just less McDonald's. It's less big chain bullshit. Like not every stop's going to have a Holiday Inn Express and, a Drury Inn. It's a terrible name.
Ugh.
A Drury Inn.
So bad.
I
think the only hotel chain that we know of is Foss Hotel.
Which looks lovely.
And they're all beautiful. They all look different. They all are so lovely in the landscape that they're in. Like they look like they're a part of it. They're meant to be there. But all the other hotels are kind of small mom and pop feeling. They're local hotels.
Or guest houses.
And they all have restaurants in them. And you come together and sit with other people at night, and you're served in a slower, more slow-paced European style.
Yeah.
So it's not like a rush. Everything's in a hurry, kind of like things.
It feels a lot more the same vibe that Scotland has to me than it does the U.S. Like it definitely doesn't feel like the U.S. And like
No.
one of the reasons I recommend Iceland as much as I do, like if you're interested to start international traveling, this is a great spot. Everyone here speaks English. They're very nice. It's not complicated to get around. There's one fucking main road,
Your
and
GPS is going to work fine
your
over
GPS
here.
works fine. Yeah, it's a really low barrier of entry for a 5.5 hour, 5 hour flight from the East Coast,
Yeah.
and you're not in a place that feels like the U.S.
Right.
So,
Headed to Iceland today. What are you using for internet? SIM card or mobile hotspot / Wi-Fi?
I just have unlimited data on my phone.
So yeah, I would definitely encourage you to get an international plan set up on your phone. We also had a mobile Wi-Fi thing that we had with us in the camper van while we were on the ring road for that week, and
Yeah,
that worked really
great.
well.
That thing worked really well. It works way better than the one that we try to use in the truck.
Yeah. So that is easy if you're not going to be in like hotels and cafes all the time. Those typically all do have Wi-Fi, which is nice. But if you're traveling out and about, I would say get a mobile Wi-Fi thing. That was
Yeah.
great for us. I'd never
Yeah.
had issues with
No,
that. Pretty much
it
had
worked,
Wi-Fi
it
the whole
worked
time.
pretty well, yeah. What's the story behind the stones? So there's a lot of various stones. Like Husafell stone has its own kind of lore regarding a farmer's daughter and equality, and she wanted to be paid as much of her brothers, and the farmer essentially said, well, as soon as you can do as much work as they can, I'll pay you as much. And one of those jobs was tending the goats, and the Husafell stone was the door to the goat pen. And so one day she was able to pick it up, move it, and carry it around the goat pen, and was getting paid as much of her brothers.
That's a strong bitch.
Yes. Not trying to catch one of those hand joes from her.
Oof.
She'd
You
tear
rip
it right off.
Rip it right off.
Not a pleasant feeling. The stones in Dritvik on the fisherman stones, I mean, those are they were for determining your place on the boat and like what your pay would be. And same with the stones in Lochaberg. The other ones are just kind of testing stones. There's a little bit of lore behind each one of them. There's the farmer stone
The
up in the West Fjords.
tombstone one.
Yep, that's the farmers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the technical name of it.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, the big stone at the beach in Lochaberg, the Bjostak or whatever it is that's the name of the guy who dragged it out of the sea. I don't fucking know, man.
Jesus
They're tough
Christ.
bastards, right? And like any culture that's been around long enough, especially with a bunch of caveman-ass dudes hanging out, there's going to be a point where dudes look at a thing and go, I think I could pick that up. Can you pick it up? Oh, I can do it and you can't. I'm better than you. That's how it works. And that's how you figure out pecking order and strength. And like that's been consistent from humans forever.
Yes, beautifully simplistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's lots of different stories behind the stones, and that's one of the cool ones. The cool things about all the stones that despite being this inanimate object that we've placed value on, they have a gravity, man, that for some reason people like myself are drawn to it. And this is your first time really fucking with it.
I did the fisherman stones.
Oh, that's right. You did it. Yeah, when we came. But we played around with a lot more stones this year, like looking for stuff to pick up.
Yes.
And it was fun.
Yes.
Well, mostly because I could.
Mm-hmm.
Better than before.
Mm-hmm.
Not great, but it was really cool getting to do it again. There are stones that I have lifted in the past that I was not able to do anything with, and that's a little bit of a thing, but such is life, man. There's a lot of things I could do in my 20s that I can't do now in my late 30s.
Well, it's
And
also cool, like you're revisiting an old friend.
for sure.
Yeah.
And the stone hasn't changed.
No.
It doesn't age, it doesn't wear, it doesn't do anything. It's just sitting there waiting. It's very patient. I dig it. I really, really dig that side of stuff. I also love that, like, all the strongest dudes on Earth give it a go. They all end up finding it. They all end up having some type of connection to those type of things, and I love that too. Like, I love coming to Iceland. Like, I love my friends here, and I have a great place to train, and I've got some really rad resources here for places to stay and all that, but I love this country. Like, I love the earth it's on. I love the history behind it. I love the Icelandic people's take on stuff. I just really like it here and always have.
Yeah. Very, very special place. One that I got was, are the Icelanders friendly?
Yeah. Well, they
So
are to
friendly.
us. I don't know how they are to
Um,
everyone else, but they are to us.
they're very helpful. I think anything you need assistance with, you'll be helped.
Yeah, even in
Uh,
and out of the city, no one's a
w-
dick.
yes, yeah, yeah. The one thing that I really do like about them is their complete and absolute bluntness, no matter what the subject is.
Yep.
What was that situation where you asked about a restaurant?
Mm. Where was that?
We were
Was
at
that
the.
here?
It was heading into the West Fjords. It was at the grocery store that we stopped at, the first place where we got gas.
No, I don't remember.
I think we're talking to the cashier
Mm-hmm.
about a place to eat. You're like, are there any restaurants around here? And she goes, yes, there's 100 meters that way. And you're like, oh, well, it's closed. And she goes, well, then no.
Yep.
Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, that's a pretty much dead on. I'm like, hey, is there anywhere else to eat around here? Because we're looking for coffee, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Iceland moves a bit on island time, so be prepared for things don't open very early. Also, it's still COVID, and so reduced hours. There's a lot
Yeah.
of still weirdness going
Yeah, of
on.
course.
So just be prepared to handle your own shit. But yeah, essentially, I was like, is there any other restaurants in town? And she's like, I think there's a restaurant right up the road. It's 100 meters. I was like, oh, they're closed. And she goes, so no. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
And none of it's rude. It's just
Nope.
very matter
To
of
the point.
fact, to the point, very blunt, brutally honest. And I fucking love it.
I do too.
I definitely think it's a little bit funny. I wish that we were more that way instead of kind of dancing around things and sugarcoating things.
Well, we don't get we get a bit more easily offended.
Yeah, they don't hear.
Nope.
Which is
But
rad.
I think they're just a fucking tougher, more resilient folk. With the weather and climate and
Yeah, it's just very much no bullshit
the
attitude.
earth here. Also, English isn't their first language.
Right, and that's what I said to you. I was like, I wonder if they still appear this way to each other when they're speaking Icelandic, or when they're just speaking English. If it comes across very
Yeah, I don't
matter of
know.
fact,
I don't know. I'll have to run that
which
by.
we'd have to ask Casey or Runar or something.
Yeah, Runard set us straight.
Yeah.
Find any giants aside from the strongman yet? I think your question's not great. However, there is a bit with giants and trolls and fairies and all this type of stuff in Iceland. I'm very,
Elves.
very entertained by that with elves as well. And the perfect example is like no intelligent adult people in Iceland hardcore believe in these things. They don't think that the rocks off the shore used to be an animated troll or a giant. They don't think any of that. However, if they're building stuff and there's a big rock in an area that's notorious a place for elves, they will avoid building anywhere near it.
Build around it. Yeah. So I was
Just
talking
'cause,
to
like,
the
why
girls
push it?
yesterday
Yeah.
about this, and I was like, so how does this work? Like, who, how many people like really, really buy into the mythology of elves and fairies and trolls and all that? And they're like, it just kind of depends on the household that you grew up in. And they said that there was construction in an area that was notorious for elves, and they went to move an elf rock, but all the equipment broke. And so they said, okay, we are not fucking with this. We are building around it.
Incredible.
So that's a thing here.
I do love it.
I fucking love it. And you'll
That's a
see
little
lots of houses with little fairy houses, right?
Yeah.
In the backyard. I mean, there's one
There's
here.
one here.
There's one here in the backyard. So that's a pretty common thing. And yeah, and it's really cool hearing all the stories. Our tour guide was very knowledgeable in that area and told us all these stories of trolls and giants and things like along our tour, which was really fun. Apparently, like the south coast of Iceland is guarded by a giant.
Mm-hmm.
And the east was like an eagle, and the north was like a bull, and the west was like a dragon. Like every part of Iceland is guarded by like a different mythological creature, which I think is really rad. And just not a history or stories, that we tell. And granted, a lot of it seems to be to keep the kids in line.
Which is
just
what we should use religion
well,
for, and
and
then
it's
we
wh-
get
it's
locked
what
in as
it's
adults.
it's what we do with like Santa and stuff.
Yep.
I think they just have more of that.
We just use some of the other ones that have to carry on to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
And
always loved.
none of those things are related to religion at all.
No.
Like it's its own thing.
Well, we found out, like, as Iceland at some point decided to adopt Christianity, that, I mean, they did it more for political reasons, so that it would be easier to do trades and stuff like that with other countries.
That story's wild.
Yeah, so they could do more trades and stuff with other countries, as it just would be easier culture to culture. And then, as that continued, it ended up, they're deciding what will they be allowed to do, because they still want to keep their culture of Icelandic stuff. And so, like, the things that they were allowed to still do was they could still pray to their gods, as long as they did it on their own time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could still kill kids for acting up. Mm-hmm. This is a long time ago, by the way, probably like in the 80s.
I don't know if it was for acting up, but if like born with deformities or disabilities or whatever, if you aren't going to contribute,
you had to go. And look, it's finite resources. It's a really not fun thing to think about, but it's a realistic thing.
And what was the third? Horses. Horse meat. They could still eat horses.
You could still eat horse.
Yeah, so they could still kill their kids, still eat horses, and they could still worship their gods.
Yep. So
pretty good. On paper.
Pretty good deal. Very Christian.
Christian.
And it seems to me that they always have kind of the same take on religion as they do, at least my Icelandic friends. I'll just leave it at that. I don't have an experience with everyone, nor do I know the people that are really attending church, and how serious that feels versus it being a community aspect.
But for the people that we know, it's these are nice stories.
Yeah, they feel about the stories being valuable the same way I do. Now, whether or not their fact is indifferent, kind of the same way the value of the stories with Odin and those type of things. Like, they already had a history in mythology.
Right.
And so adding a second one that didn't take place here is weird.
They're kind of like, okay.
Cool, nice, same stories.
Nice
Sounds
stories.
great. We'll just basically do the same shit. Mm-hmm. Have you found any CBD products? I have.
Here?
There's a wink.
Oh.
I have.
Thanks for following that up with the wink.
Sorry.
Taken care of.
So lots of dope landscape. Any wildlife out there?
Yeah.
Not much.
There's some.
I mean, there's a lot of birds. Killer sheep. Sheep. If you're into sheep, you're going to get a shit ton of those.
So many sheep.
Horses.
Everywhere. Horses. There's some cows. The only native mammal is the Arctic fox.
Which I have never seen.
Never will.
Probably not. I
Sly
haven't
little
seen
bastards.
a whale. We've seen some seals.
We saw some seals. There's puffins. There's lots of swans. Probably a variety of birds.
But there's reindeer.
There's reindeer. We
There's
haven't
mink.
seen them. Haven't seen those.
But there's no predators. Like, there's no the fox.
Yeah, you don't have to
like
be
the size of
worried
your-
about like camping in the wilderness and like a black bear showing up to steal your snacks.
No bears, no moose, no large land dwelling.
I did see 2 black sheep that were really close together one day, and I was like, "What?"
A bear of sheep?
I was like, "What the fuck?" Yeah,
I knew it.
I did a double take. I'm like, "Hang on." Yeah, but sheep, you just give them a little honk if they're on the road. They'll move.
Top snacks to buy in Iceland. So I really like the dried fish. I haven't had any this trip. I also really like their hot dogs at the gas stations, which are excellent. And I also like the different flavored chips and stuff they do. If you're into licorice, you're going to be super pumped on it here.
They love
it. I don't.
But we know the word for it, so we know what to avoid.
It's true. It's pretty easy.
We haven't done it as much this trip, but the last time Matt and I were here, every time we went to a gas station, we'd get a different brand of candy bar that we just had no idea what it was. Because that's part of the fun of it, right? Just fully buying things you don't know. Candy bar is a pretty safe bet, but they do sweets really well here.
Yeah,
They
they do
crush
sweets really
baked
well.
goods. They crush sweets. Like anytime you go to a bakery, I would try to just point at something dumbly
And I don't know
and
what
order
it is,
something new.
but I can eat bread here and it's never an issue. Now, I don't know if it's because of an upped activity level and I'm doing more, or
I think it's just less processed bullshit.
I
Like
don't know. It's
you
better.
know, it's all getting handmade. Like it doesn't seem like mass-produced stuff. But the bakeries crush.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yes.
They're really good.
Those ham and cheese, like stuffed croissants
Oh,
they do.
yeah. We haven't even got any of those yet.
I did one
When'd you go on those?
at the Verk Baths.
Oh.
I had that and I had some sushi. It was a weird lunch, but it was really good.
All right. They crush sandwiches too. Like
Mm-hmm.
the place we stopped in Selfoss yesterday. That sandwich is unreal.
Amazing. I'm so glad I experienced that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy good, right? It's
Uh-huh.
it's like, how good's the sandwich gonna be? Yeah, it's fucking good.
And if you're looking for burgers, is it Toma or Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy.
Tommy
Burger.
Burgers. Hamburger. They have a couple
Hamburger.
extra letters on hamburger.
Yeah, they got rules, but that's about as big of a chain as they have, and I think they've made it into the UK and some other places. So good on that dude.
Really good burgers, incredible shakes. Also, another good place to go for burgers and shakes is Lebowski Bar.
Yeah, Lebowski Bar. Fuck,
Downtown
we haven't done that
Reykjavik.
yet.
No, not yet.
Damn it.
Brant might have to get that on his next trip.
Yeah. Oh well, that's
I'm
my
not-
questions.
I was going to say, I'm out of questions. I feel like I had another one that I had on my story. Oh, yes. So a bit more general, but still something that people might need help with. I want to plan a trip to Iceland. Where do I start?
Rent a car.
Well, even before that, figure out what time of year you want to go.
When you can go.
Book a flight.
Yep. And you're going to fly into Keflavik. It's your only option. Once you get here, you can rent a car at the airport, or you will take the bus into Reykjavik and then kind of figure it out from there. It's pretty normal to do that. I've never done it.
So, yeah, book a flight, get into Keflavik. I would have a hotel in Reykjavik
Or
set
just
up
stay here at
for your
Jesus.
first night. Yes, or hit up Hasty. We'll take it. And then I would see, and then from there, I guess you could really figure out what you want to see, and then see if you are going to do that with a group or on your own.
Yeah.
If you're on your own, rent a
I would really recommend doing the
Caravan?
car rental. Look, you're still driving on the right side of the vehicle. You probably need to learn how to drive a standard, which isn't terribly hard, and as an adult, you should know how to do it.
I think the last time we didn't have a standard, but this time we did.
We have.
Oh, but I drove Harrison to the airport the last time,
Did you?
so it wouldn't have been.
Did you take our van?
So, I mean,
Well, then 2 out of 3 were.
yeah. Rent a vehicle, figure out the sites that you want to see, like actually have a map, get that planned out.
Your best bet, like, just nail. It's the touristy shit. It is the touristy stuff to do the Golden Circle, which will get you Gullfoss, Geysir, Thingvellir. You're gonna see the South Coast, which gives you Salandafoss, Skogafoss. There's some great
Glacier Lagoon.
hot tubs. There are some great hot springs. There's the Glacier Lagoon down there. There's this lava field. There's a place to do glacier hiking. You could do
Diamond
all
Beach.
of that within 5 hours of Reykjavik.
Yeah. You need more than a day, but yes, it is all that close, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Like, you could do it. You could do all of it in 2 days.
Rent a car, figure out the things you want to see, and continue until satisfied.
Yeah, book a hotel around Vic or
Hetla.
yeah, Hekla, Hella. Those are going to be great options for like home bases to kind of hit and do everything you want to do. And check out Reykjavik. Get a vibe of the city, man. It's really cool. So that is our Iceland Q&A. I want to thank you guys for listening. Please give us a 5-star review over on the old wherever you're listening to, iTunes or anything. It really does help us out. Check out our sponsors. It always helps us out as well. That is onit.com/Matt Vincent. We have, or onit.com/Matt. We have Hybrid Performance for nutrition. We have Eat Right Foods. We have Stay Classy Meats. I think Manscaped is still involved. I think they're helping me keep my lower bits nice and shiny.
Oh, shit. Okay. What's up?
Yeah.
Thanks, Manscaped.
You're welcome. I was going to start doing cool designs down there.
Oh, what's the first design?
Just runes.
Oh.
You know, that way I can
Sure.
conjure up spirits or anything like that, the way Hellboy does with his
Makes
right
sense.
hand of doom. I'll
Makes
just
sense.
use,
Yours is just a little different. It's not a big deal.
Well, now that I have this vasectomy and the jade lock has been put in, as they say, to keep my...
Is that what's in there?
Yeah, that's because
Okay.
now my manhood stays. You don't get any of my power. You just get the sauce.
Disagree.
Good luck. So, thank you guys for listening. Check out my lovely lady friend Boncho. She's also starting a YouTube channel. So, head over there and check out some of her new vlogs as she's going to be doing some stuff with Iceland and travel as she's been with us. Huge shout out to Trova Trip. This was an incredible trip. This is our first thing that we've got to do with a big group of 20 people. And
it was perfect.
Really nervous about doing it. Like, that's a weird thing to go do with 20 fans. And the people that came were incredible and for sure make us so much more confident in going to do this again in different places. And so we have some other trips coming up. Also look out for a giveaway later in the year. I think we have a trip next year to Alaska. And I'm going to do a giveaway with Hate for one of the lucky people who get in on that. I think probably in December we'll do that giveaway. So keep paying attention. Listen to the UMSO podcast. Check us out on Instagram and leave us a 5-star review. Like I said, check out our sponsors. The code UMSO works everywhere you could possibly want to buy cool stuff. Yeah, that works. Hey, Brain Goods, Habit Coffee. Love you guys. Spread hate. Always party.